Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we have another history paper for you. History paper 1 from May-June 2019. So that's the history paper 1, May-June 2019. And so we're going to just jump right into it. And the first question here is, which of the following best explains why the indigenous people migrated to the Americas from their original homelands? And we have seen this in past papers before. And so the answer is A, they were following herds of deer that they hunted. Number 2, which of the following best describes the religious practice of the Tainos? And the answer is B, nature worship and ancestor worship. Number 3, the Maya wrote using type of writing called, and of course the answer here is hieroglyphic. Then we have number 4, which of the following did the Maya use as money? And the answer here is A, cocoa beans. Number 5, which of the following best explains why many Kalinago women spoke the Taino language? And so the answer here is C, Taino women were often captured by Kalinago warriors. Number 6, which of the following islands was the first to be settled by the English? And that would be A, St. Kitts in 1624. Then we have number 7, which century were the English most successful in establishing settlements in the Caribbean? And so the answer here is D, in the 17th century. So that would have been 1600. Number 8 refers to this map of the Caribbean. And so the question asks, on which of the following islands was the Spanish settlement, the first Spanish settlement established? And so the answer here is number 3, which is, we know, Hispaniola. Number 9 refers to the following statement. The authorities began the practice of allowing the Spaniards to extract labor and collect tribute from the Indians. In return, the Spaniards were to see that the Indians were protected and converted to Christianity. The practice referred to in the statement was known as the, and so the answer here is D, the encomienda system. D, the encomienda system. Number 10, which of the following strategies were not used to weaken the Spanish monopoly in the Caribbean up to 1763? And so the answer here is C, colonization and contest in the European courts. Number 11, which of the following groups of items the Europeans used for the purchase of Africans on the slave coast? And so the answer here is D, gunpowder, iron pots, and beads. Number 12, which of the following ports were British slave ships most likely to visit during the 1700s? And so the answer is B, Kingston. Number 13, the term barracoon is best associated with the, and the answer is C, housing of captive persons on the African coast. Those little jail that they kept them in until the boat came to take them to the West Indies. Number 14, the curing house and the Caribbean sugar plantation were associated with, and the answer is D, the removal of molasses from the Muscovado sugar. So that's what the curing house was for, to remove the molasses from the Muscovado sugar. Number 15, which of the following statements about the population of Barbados by the end of the 1600s is true? And so the answer here is B, blacks were far greater in number than whites. Number 16, the enslaved African in the British Caribbean who stole from the owner was least likely to be, and the answer is, of course, charged a fine. Like, they don't get paid, so they cannot really pay the fine, so you're not going to charge them a fine. Number 17, Toussaint Louverture contributed to the success of the Haitian Revolution mainly by, and you have Toussaint right here, and his main contribution was D, organizing the enslaved into a formidable fighting force. Number 18, the Free Colors of Saint Domingue revolted in 1790 because they, and the answer is B, were dissatisfied with their status in society. Number 19, in 1763, a major uprising of enslaved Africans took place in the Dutch colony of Berbice, the Berbice Rebellion. Number 20, the punishment most frequently meted out to enslaved on 18th century sugar estates was, and the best answer here is a lot of licks, so that's A, flogging. Number 21, which of the following was the main purpose of the policy of amelioration? And the answer here is A, to maintain the established system of enslavement. Number 22, the main source of disputes between planters and formerly enslaved persons during the apprenticeship was, and the answer here is, of course, A, the wage rate. They didn't want to pay the once enslaved persons, so always had issues with that. Number 23, the registry bill was intended to B, register persons born into slavery. 24, The stipendiary magistrates were persons originally sent out from Britain to ensure that, and the answer here is B, there were no abuses of the apprenticeship system. 25. Most West Indian planters saw the period of apprenticeship mainly as, and the answer is a means of ensuring a steady labor supply. Number 26. Which of the following were the benefits of Emancipation Act of 1833 gave enslaved Africans in the British Caribbean? And so the answer here, we have some choices here. You have a chance to work for wages, social equality with whites, and number 3, assistance from stipendiary magistrates. And you know for sure that the answer cannot include number 2, which is social equality with the whites. You cannot include number 2. So the answer here is B, 1 and 3, a chance to work for wages and assistance from the stipendiary magistrates. 27. The large-scale migration to Trinidad and British Guyana between 1838 and 1870 led to, and we have some options here, 1, cultural diversity in those territories, 2, racial conflicts among ethnic groups, or 3, economic growth in both territories. And so the best answer here is all of the above, which is D, 1, 2, and 3. 28. Indian indentured labor was introduced into the British Caribbean in order to, and the answer is A, ease the labor problems of the planters. 29. Which of the following did not result from the immigration of indentured laborers to the Caribbean after emancipation? And so the answer here is B, the expansion of sugar production in Barbados. Number 30. The majority of the Portuguese immigrants brought to work in the British Caribbean in the years between emancipation and the First World War were employed as, and the answer here is C, unskilled laborers. Number 31. There were more free villages in Jamaica than there were in Barbados, mainly because, and the answer here is A, in Jamaica, more land was available for settlement. Number 32 to 34 refers to the following information. William Knibb foresaw the planters would try to force extra work from their free laborers by increasing rent on homes on the estate. Answer the question here. To which territory is the statement referring to? Answer the answer is B, Jamaica. Number 33. Which of the following best describes the response of free laborers in the Caribbean to planters' attempts to force them to remain on the plantation? And the answer here is D, establishment of homes off the plantation. 34. What action did William Knibb take to assist freed Africans to acquire land? Answer here, C, establish free villages. Number 35. Which of the following crops was most likely to be sold in a peasant market? And so the answer here is D, sweet potatoes. Most of these other crops are plantation crops that were owned by the whites. Number 36. The adherence of the United States to the Monroe Doctrine may force the United States, however reluctantly, in cases of wrongdoing or impotence, to exercise of the international police force. The above statement is associated with the president, and the answer is C, Theodore Roosevelt. Number 37. Which of the following was the immediate cause of the United States declaring war against Spain in 1898? And so the answer here is B, the USS Maine was blown up in Havana Harbor. Number 38. By which agreement did the United States make Cuba gravitate towards the North American Union? And the answer here is A, the Platt Amendment. Number 39. The main reason for the United States' interest in Panama in the first decade of the 20th century was to, and of course the answer is D, improve communication between the Atlantic and the Pacific, because before then they had to sail all the way down and up South America to get around. Alright, number 40. Which of the following Caribbean territories was not occupied by a U.S. military force in the early 1900s? Answer C, Jamaica. 41. Which of the following commissions was sent to investigate conditions in the Caribbean as a result of the 1930s riot? And the answer here is C, the Moyne Commission. 42. Which of the following personalities was directly associated with the riots of the 1930s in the British Caribbean? And the answer here is D, Clement Payne of Barbados. Number 43. Most of the Caribbean political leaders in the 1930s advocated constitutional changes mainly in order to, and the answer A, obtain self-government. 44. Marcus Garvey is best known for his, answer B, teachings on black nationalism. 45. Which of the following territories did not join the British West Indian Federation? A. Guyana and Belize. 46. In many British Caribbean territories during the 1930s, there was a strong link between political parties and, the answer is A, the trade unions, labor movement. 47. Which of the following considerations most influenced the decision to form the British West Indies Federation of 1958? And so the answer here is B, federation would help the independence movement. 48. By the referendum of 1961, Jamaica decided to A, withdraw from the federation. 49. Which of the following Caribbean territories became the free and associated states of the United States? And the answer is D, Puerto Rico. Number 50. Which of the following Caribbean territories was assimilated by France in 1946? And the answer here is D, Guadeloupe, Saint Martin, and Martinique. Number 51. Colonialism may be described as the B, settlement, exploitation of one country by another. So the settlement and the exploitation of one country by another. 52. Which of the following leaders served as the first female prime minister of the Caribbean territory? And the answer here is C, Eugenia Charles. Number 53. Which of the following laws was intended to improve the treatment of enslaved indigenous people? And the answer here is B, the Amelioration Act. 54. Which of the following British Caribbean territories was first granted adult suffrage? And so the answer here is A, Jamaica. Number 55. Which of the following Dutch territories gained independence by 1980? And the answer here is C, Suriname. 56. What is the correct order of abolition process? Answer B. First you have the abolition of the slave trade, then you have amelioration, then you have emancipation, and last thing was apprenticeship. 57. Which of the following statement is true of Cuba in the 1900s? The answer is A. It had become a major sugar producing territory. Right. 58. In which chronological order did the British Caribbean planters first face competition from the following? And the answer here, you have some options. You have French beet sugar, that's 1. 2, Cuba slave grown sugar, that's 2. And then you have Saint Domingue slave grown sugar. And so the answer here is C, which you have Saint Domingue slave grown sugar first, then you have Cuban slave grown sugar, and then French beet sugar. 59. Which of the following persons was the important trade union leader in Guyana? And the answer here is D, Herbert Critchlow. 60. Last but not least, 60. In which order did the following stages in the movement towards independence in the British Caribbean territories take place? And so you have some options here. We have full internal self-government, then you have achievement of universal adult suffrage, and then you have election of prime minister or premier. And so, of course, you have to look at this one in a common sense way. The answer is B, because you have to be able to vote first. So you have the achievement of adult suffrage. Then after you're able to vote, then you hold the elections. So you have the election of a premier or prime minister or premier. And then last, you have full internal self-government. All right, so that's it for the May-June 2019 Caribbean History Paper 1 for CSEC. All right, so that's it for this one. So you know what to do now. You should like the video, and of course you should subscribe if you're not already, because we're gonna drop more content in the future. Statistics shows that about 75% of those who actually watch the content are not subscribed. So what are you waiting for? Just hit the subscription button and also the notification button so that you know when more videos would have dropped from Learn SKN. All right, so do us all a favor, help the channel to grow, help the community to grow. All right, thanks for watching, thanks for listening.